iMagician Live. A one, two, a one, two. What? Still no band?
Welcome back to iMagician Live. Thank you so much for joining us. We have got a great show planned and joined my friends, my special guests. We have Mr. Tommy Bond. Hi, Tommy.
Hi, Jamie. How are you?
I'm great, thank you very much. We have Adam Heppenstall. Hi, Adam.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're all good. And also joined in our studio, we have Nat.
Hello, everyone.
We have got a great show planned. What have we got coming up on the show this week, Bond?
We've got the bad trick of the week. We've also got Pete Matthews' You Bet Challenge. And we've also got the laser levitation.
Oh, that's going to be great. And Adam, what do we have coming up?
Well, we've got this week's magic news as well as the worst assistant in magic.
It sounds intriguing. And Nat, what do we have coming up?
We have this week's young magician who is Magic Jakey, and we're going to be meeting him a little bit later on and watching some magic.
That's going to be great. We've got a lot more magic in the show this week than we did last week, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm also joined by special guests. One of the greatest magicians that I've ever had the pleasure to know lives right here in the UK. Mr. David Penn will be on the show. And also we've got direct from Las Vegas, from Bally's Resort and Casino, where he headlines his own show, Magical Dream, we have Mr. XAVIER Mortimer. That's all coming up on iMagician Live. Right now, let's go over to our magic correspondent, Adam Heppenstall, to find out what's been going on in the magic news.
Good evening. What do magicians do with their time? Today, thousands of magicians are stuck at home self-isolating due to the coronavirus. Our correspondent, me, found out more. Over to you, me.
Thank you, me. Now, with many of us self-isolating at the moment, it's important, especially if you're a magician, to use that time wisely. Now, yes, you can practice your sleight of hand and of course maintain that dexterity, but any magician worth their salt will know just how important it is to work on their stairs. No, not their stairs, their stairs. A magician's stare is as important to him as the trout power is to a 17-year-old Instagrammer. This is something the greatest magicians throughout the centuries mastered very early on. There's Harry Houdini, the Great Alexander, Kreskin, Dreamy Eyes himself, Mr. David Copperfield. Maybe not you, Doug. There's Blackstone, the Masked Magician, and David Blaine. The list goes on. Now, of course, it's incredibly important that every magician masters this feat of eyebrow gymnastics, not only to perform after every trick to get the most from your audience, but also for the all-important magician's promo shot.
So what do you need for your perfect stare? Number 1, makeup. Now, you're a magician. We know you've got some. You need to darken your eyebrows and emphasize those lines for intensity. Number 2, warm-up exercises. Learn a few exercises to strengthen your upper facial muscles so you can hold that mysterious stare for a long time. Number 3, you need a visualization tool. That's a line to say in your head or something to think about whilst performing your stare. let's have a look at some of today's pros in action. So if you're ready to move on to the next level of your magic career, do yourself a favour, grab a mirror and start working on those eyebrow muscles. That's it from me, back to you. Me.
Thank you very much, me. Well, that's all from us here this time. Join us next week for more Magician News of the Week.
It's my great pleasure to bring to our show a really, really good friend of mine. He has won most awards that you can think of. He has done so much stuff for magic and created magic for other magicians. Please welcome my friend, Mr. David Penn. Hey, David.
How are you doing? Good to be here in my kitchen.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, we're all spending a lot of time. Are you brushing up on your culinary skills?
I wouldn't go that far, but it's the best location in the house. I'm seeing so many terrible live videos with people like in dark rooms with really bad shadows, and I'd be the same if I went to pretty much any other room in my house where yeah, it's just not suitable. But in the kitchen, it's perfect. You know, you can make a coffee, do a live broadcast. It's great.
I know this is the future of our business. Hey, BGT's coming up soon, which of course makes me think about you. You know, you don't say this a lot, but I will say it. You were the first one ever to make it to the live final, and you were also the live semis. Sorry, and you were also the first magician to make it cool again. You know, and I thought it might be a really fun thing for us to talk about a bit. I know a bit of this story, but I think the viewers will find it fascinating.
Well, it's very kind for you to say that, Jamie. At the time I did BGT, you're absolutely right. Lots of people said, don't do it, don't do it. It was this terrible thing. And I think even the BGT production team would probably even admit that they stitched a few magicians up in the early days. But I went on there with a great illusion invented by John Taylor. I thought it was perfect for the show. And I think a lot of people did suffer in the early days because of the wrong choice of material and didn't have a great trick that just really kicked them in the teeth, you know?
Yeah, you certainly did that, and John Taylor's trick was fantastic, and you were the first one to have it. I think I ended up buying it off of you, as I remember. We've traded a few illusions back, and John Taylor will be on this show in a couple of weeks, so if you're interested in that illusion and you know what I'm talking about, we'll be talking about that in a couple of weeks.
Probably one of the best
We've always loved
modern-day illusions.
Well, the biggest illusion of all, of course, and this is a news flash, in Germany, long before there were the Ehrlich brothers, there was Penn and Allan.
Oh, no.
When we paved the way for them to follow.
Alla Endenfassen or something.
Alla and Den Hendenfassen.
We spent all
Den
day
Hendenfassen.
learning that. Yeah, because you sold me your appearing helicopter, which was fantastic. I did it at a few corporates. You were not using it in your latest show, so you sold it to me for a season. And then all of a sudden you got in touch and said, I've had this TV show, get in touch. They want to do the helicopter, but I want to do it as well.
Yeah.
So do you fancy doing it as a double act? And it wasn't the most bizarre thing ever. We got on the plane, you know, all the stuff got shipped over, and was it Mega Clever? Was that the name of the show?
It was called, I think it was called Mega Clever. It was so much fun. We laughed the entire time we were there. Nobody knew.
I think we worried.
Nobody knew what we were saying. Yeah, we did, and I had to, for our viewers, we had to get a lot of people from the audience to surround this helicopter when it appeared, or with the space where it was going to appear, and we had to tell everybody to hold their hands, you know, make a circle. So they taught me the German and said it was Allan den Hendenfassen, I think, and. Yeah, nobody knew what I was saying. They kept saying, no, they just repeating the same words back to me. And I think in the end they were going to dub it. the German, they were going to dub it with German, I think.
Well, we spent all day learning the lines, seeing who was the best at delivering this line. And I think 5 minutes before we went live, they went, do you know what, just leave it.
Just do it in English, didn't they? They said, just do it in English.
You're like, okay.
Yeah, it was a great experience though. I'll put a little clip of it up. I think Tommy's got it. I told him we might mention it, so I'll ask Tommy to play that in a moment. But now we like the smaller things in life as well. We're both into our tech magic. You know, I've got my show iMagician. I know you're doing a bunch of tech stuff at the moment. You're enjoying that, I see.
Yeah, I've always liked doing tech magic. Back in the day when I was on a show with Mike Fitch and a couple of other guys on Channel 4. It was called Freaky. I did a couple of tricks then using televisions and that kind of thing.
That was awesome.
In televisions. And
you did a great thing with what was that clip you put up recently on Facebook with the TV in the shop?
So
that was amazing.
It was a trick that was marketed by David Acker, where a card went into a TV screen, but by doing it in a TV shop and not just as a home trick. It was meant as kind of like this trick you do at home just to entertain your friends. But I took it to the production team and said it'd be good to do in a TV shop. And I wanted to do like a series of tricks involving TVs on Freaky. But two made it to air. One was the card going in the TV where you can see David Acker making a guest appearance. And the other one was getting somebody to think of a shape like a geometrical sign. And it was quite a great visual when all the TVs in the shop suddenly had this visual of their thought of design appearing on the screen.
Yeah, it's great. It's a really good way to go, you know. And I think it's relevant. I say this to people all the time. You know, in the old days, you used to borrow a top hat. They weren't a magician's prop. When they were doing tricks with them, the audience was wearing them. So it was relevant to take it. Nowadays, nobody has them. They all have a phone in their pocket. You know, it's always about trying to make magic relatable. So just to touch back again on BGT, there's a few people that will be watching this that will no doubt be on BGT. And what do you think your advice would be for them? You know, those magicians that are going to be in those live shows?
Well, it's changed a lot now, obviously, with people like Russ Stevens involved, and Russ looks after all the magic acts on the show. It's a lot easier than when I did it in the day, because it was kind of like me up against the production team. I've worked with a couple of acts on BGT, tried to help them. Advice is a tricky thing because everybody's different. I would just say my formula whenever I've created an act for Britain's Got Talent has always been to involve the judges as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I was talking to Russ the other day, and I think that Russ might be coming on this show to talk a little about BGT as well, and that's going to be fascinating, I'm sure, as that show is airing, to get a bit of the inside knowledge on what's going on this season. David, I asked you when, if you wouldn't mind coming on this show, if you could show us a trick, and you were talking to me about this new thing that you've got. I haven't seen it in person, and you might be able to show it to us today. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a brand new trick. Having been on the Wizard product review, I do get sent tricks all the time. This is brand new. I don't think you can get it at the moment, and it's certainly never been on television. Shall I show you?
Oh, yes, please. And while you're getting ready, let me tell you that tell the audience that David, if you're interested in magic, but you're not a magician, he presents a weekly review show of all the latest new magic that's available. It's called the Wizard Product Review, and you can find it by simply searching those words. Yeah, David, let's take a look.
So this is something, Jamie, with my mobile phone. There's my mobile phone just there, and I'm also going to use my Magic Circle membership card because there's not that much use for that at the moment because Monday nights are closed. And if you check this out, it looks like the membership card is going straight through the centre of the phone case. And if I do that again, it really does look like it's going straight through the centre of the case. But you're probably thinking this is a trick, it's not an illusion. Maybe there's not something inside the case at all. Well, you're kind of right. There is something inside the case, but it's not a phone. It's something very different. It's a solid block of metal. A solid block of metal that completely fills up the centre of the phone case, and it's absolutely...
That is so cool. It really is so cool. What a clean trick. I love it. I love it. And that's great because if you've got somebody in front of you, they can drop that block into their hand and take it home if they wanted, couldn't they? It is a solid block of metal.
Oh, yeah, you can check this.
It is a solid block of metal. That is a great trick. Oh, thanks so much, David. That's awesome. Thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I love my chats with you, and I'm sure we'll continue later after the show is finished. But I want to thank you again.
Thanks for having me on. And Jamie, thank you for doing this.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. Thanks, mate. We'll see you soon. Do you know, as a magician, in my career, I've asked literally thousands of people to help me out on stage. Some of them have been amazing, some of them not so much, and some of the bad ones were caught on camera. Now, about a year ago, we took our show iMagician to the Harris Theatre in Chicago. It was a great honour. And as part of that process, we had to present our show on a lot of local television channels to sell tickets. Now, I was on a morning news show and was asked to perform magic for a lady called Robin. Very nice lady, bit of a catch, hates magic. This is what happened.
Co-worker. So one of the things that I know you are a huge fan of is magicians.
Oh, great.
So I've got a magician in, and come on out here, Jamie.
I mean, great.
Here's the best thing. He's a British magician, and he's a nice... Look, just kind of showed up out of nowhere, Jamie. Robin, good to see you again.
Paul told me you're a massive fan of magic.
Yes. I don't think I have the correct appreciation. I got it.
What I do is not strictly speaking magic. It's magic with technology. So it's kind of magical, but it's not about fooling you.
Okay.
I'm going to show you something with
about fooling.
I'm going to show you something with the iPhone, but we'll come back to that in one moment.
Okay.
We have to make a choice first. So this is the only bit of magic, Robin. So I do apologise. You can see we've got some playing cards, and Paul, I'm going to ask you to make a decision. And this right now will seem kind of mundane, but in a moment it's going to be important.
Okay,
so
all right.
I'd like you just to touch the back. We'll come in close of any card that you like.
Any
just touch
card,
the back
all
of
right.
any one.
I'd like to touch
and keep your
that
finger
one.
on it so that we can see. Could you hold your hand out for me?
Yeah, this one here?
Yeah, perfect. And I want to stay on close so that everybody can see this. There we go.
Yeah.
Don't want to drop it. And you can see if you'd have gone one card more or less, we'd end up with a different card.
Right,
now, in truth, I genuinely do not know what the card is.
That is correct.
But this is the way I can use tech to make my job a little easier, because I'm going to scan it. I'm going to scan it, and on the phone here, you'll see that the phone says that it is the 4 of Hearts. Now that's just technology.
Sure.
You could have picked any card. That's technology, but this is magic.
Oh, that's...
What'd that do for you, Robin?
It's a little creepy.
Yeah, I got you going a little bit, didn't
A little
it?
creepy, yeah.
You all right with that?
It's a little...
It's magic, right?
I don't like it.
All right, it worked.
I don't like it.
It worked exactly the way we would hope it would.
It's now time for renowned comedy juggler, Mr. Pete Matthews.
Hello, I'm Pete Matthews, and this was from a very long time ago.
20-year-old Peter Matthews from Bournemouth numbers amongst his many circus skills Diablo juggling. But in true You Bet tradition, Pete's not content with juggling his Diablo standing on the ground. Pete says that whilst performing back somersaults on a trampoline, he can throw and catch the Diablo 15 times in 1 minute. The man must be mad. Let's meet him. Please welcome Pete Matthews. Good luck. You have 60 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. In front of you, Pete. Behind.
Hello, I'm Pete Matthews, and this is a You Bet Diablo challenge repeat. This is a repeat of the You Bet I'm gonna try and do my You Bet Diablo challenge again. 1.
Oh, this is fantastic. We currently have about 120 people online. I noticed, Pete, if you were wearing those actual shorts that you had in the You Bet thing, if you still have them, maybe that would increase our viewership. Marcus Weatherly has joined us. Thank you very much. He's our stage manager, so a big shout out to Marcus. While the show has been on, I have actually seen a message now from Russ Stevens to confirm that Russ will be on next week talking about BGT, and that's going to be airing on the Saturday right after, so that's going to be pretty cool. Stay tuned at the end of this show for announcements of our other star guest that will be on next week, so that is going to be pretty exciting. But right now, take a look at this.
Want to have a peek at bad trick of the week, bad trick of the week, bad trick of the week? If it's bad magic that you seek, watch Bad Trick of the Week.
It's now time for Bad Trick of the Week. Adam, what do you have for us?
Well, this week we're going to be using a magic trick that involves danger.
And thank you, Adam, for Bad Trick of the Week. See you next week.
I'm in the seat! I got upgraded from the sofa! Anyway, we are at the Young Magicians part of the week, and tonight we have Magic Jakey joining us. So, Jakey, are you there?
Hi, Natalia.
Hello! Thank you so much for joining us. Now, for the viewers back home, we're going to watch a clip of Jakey performing magic in just a moment. But before we get there, we like to get to know our young magicians a little bit better. So, we've got 5 questions that we're going to zoom through before we get there. So, question number 1, Jakey. How long have you been doing magic for?
Well, I think it was when I was about 6 I started, but it's been amazing.
6 years? That's a fair bit already, isn't it? Okay, so what was the first trick you learned?
I think I'm not too sure, but I think it was like either diminishing milk, stiff rope, or actually sub-trunk, because I did a competition with my sister when I was a bit younger.
Sub-trunk? That's a pretty serious trick. Okay, so who inspires you?
Definitely my dad and Dynamo. They're a big inspiration to me.
Dave Allan. So for those that don't know, Dave Allan is actually Jacob's dad, and he is an awesome magician, so that's wicked. I love that. Jacob, what is the best trick you've ever seen?
Jamie Allen's iPad trick.
Yes.
And when the Ehrlich brothers were here, they made a monster truck appear, and I think that was really cool.
The iPads.
Yes, it's very good.
Very good. I love them. I do love them, but I'm biased. The Ehrlich brothers, I was there at that show. That was one big truck. Very
good. It's no iPads.
It's.
This kid knows what he's talking about.
Yes, he does. He does. And last but not least, what is last? Yes. What is your ambition when it comes to your magic career?
Well, this is a bit big, but I would really like to have my own show in Las Vegas. I think that would be really cool.
Jakey, you can do anything you dream. Tommy's lining up the clip right now, so let's see Jakey in action.
I'm Jakey, and today I'm going to be showing you guys a trick. But not only am I going to be showing you guys a trick, I'm going to be telling you how it's done. But don't tell anybody I'm doing this, because magicians don't really love it. For this trick, I will need a hanky. Place my hanky in my hand and blow, and it turns into an 8 ball. Here's how it's done. Oh wait, but that's not even the best part. It reappears back in my pocket. Here's how it's done. There's a hole in the hanky, and it's really just hollow. here's the setup. You want the shell in your pocket, along with the hanky you're going to make reappear. And this one we can just keep up here. Now, you want to take out the shell, and you want to do something called palming, so nobody can see it. Take your hanky, and you want to poke it in the hole. Then, magic blow, turns into an 8 ball, and it appears in your pocket. And then, if you really want, you can take a bow, but you don't want to show the hole. You see, if you show the hole, you just have to do some real magic, like this. Take off the hole, and it turns in to a real 8 ball. I'm Magic Jakey, thank you, bye!
Oh, that was awesome! Thank you so much, Jakey, for joining us tonight. Before you go, though, we do have our sponsors, Ace Magic Studio, and they created a trick called Spread by Gary Sumter himself. And it actually sold out at Magic Blackpool Convention, but he is sending it to you to say thank you for being on the show. So thank you so much, Jakey, and we'll speak soon.
Bye!
Thank you. If I had one wish, it would be to not know the things that I know, but instead to journey back to when I was a child. I was just 5 years old when I first saw a magician make a lady fly in the air, and all the magic was still real.
Next on our show is one of my favourite magicians on the planet, literally. I'm very proud to call him a friend. He is the most creative magician I know, and he headlines his own show in Las Vegas at Bally's Hotel and Casino, and of course Resort. He's on the line with us now, direct from Las Vegas. Please welcome XAVIER Mortimer. Hi, XAVIER.
Hi, Jamie. Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh no, it's a real pleasure. I'm so excited to get to talk to you on this, and thank you for coming on and speaking to us. I know a lot of the magicians are going to get a real kick out of this. When did you? I've seen your show 3 times now in Las Vegas. Twice when you were at Planet Hollywood, and now you've moved to a bigger room at Bally's. Could you tell us about the show over at Bally's?
The show at Bally's, it's named Magical Dream. It's a show with a storyline. There's most of my acts are in the show. We try to I mean, my acts were always about telling a little story, having a situation. And with this show, we try to put all these situations together and say, okay, what can we tell with that? How can we link all these acts? And some got left and some went to add. And at the same time, we need to also please the kind of audience that goes in casinos. So the theatricality has to be fast-paced and not too complicated, I would say. It's Vegas. And we ended up with this dream where I meet my my love interest, and all this magic is happening to me as I'm playing with my shadows, playing with the light, and everything that's around me is magical, yeah.
And also, the most incredible thing in your show, I hope you don't mind me saying this to the viewers, but at the end of the show, you do, I'm going to be careful how I say this, the best levitation I have seen, as close to anybody that I've seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, how close is the front row from that?
I'd say the first row is 6 feet from me, so for a levitation like that, it's like human levitation, 6 feet is extremely close. So we had to, I had to play with the lights very carefully. I had to play with a lot of parameters that...
So you now have a really good following on social media. I'm always seeing your videos coming up on Facebook and TikTok. How can we find you on social media?
You can just type Xavier Mortimer. It's very easy. It's under my name every social, and I'm the only one so far. So it's easy to find, and I publish lots of videos and creative work that I'm doing when I'm not on the show.
You have to check this out, everybody. You have to check this out. These are very, very fast-paced clips. They're very, very funny. You're gonna like it. If you love magic, please follow him. You're gonna love it. So please check that out.
All right, ready?
I'm ready.
How do I look?
You look stupid.
Yes.
That's much better.
Even how? If I go like this. Did you know that money grows on trees?
No.
Watch this.
Yo!
Watch the straw. Google with 2 Cheerios. If I go like this.
What the? What happened to my phone?
With coffee, you can make a lot of money. Do you want to know how?
How?
Watch.
What?
That's so cool.
The fastest origami in the world.
Thank you.
Would you like a cookie?
Yeah. What?
Would you like a cookie?
So I was in your theatre in January, I think it was. The last time I saw you was January. That was the first time I saw it in the new theatre, which is so much better.
Yeah.
You know, it's so good. How was it like moving that production from one theatre to the other? I know a lot of people would be interested in that.
I mean, Vegas in itself, it's a challenge. Vegas has a lot of competition, and you're on your own. You have to know that. There's a lot of people who came up to me recently and said, and even like big names who came to me and say, "Hey, Xavier, I want to have my show in Vegas. And how can I do?" And I'm like, there's one way. You just be ready to suffer. And that's it. And that's how it goes, because you're on your own. You decide to do that. You decide to be in a casino. You decide to do this show. And if it sells, great. If it doesn't sell, you get back home. But no one is going to be like, "Oh, I like this guy, I'm going to push him." There's like, it's just you and your producer, and you're going to go see the ticket brokers, you're going to see, you're going to advertise on TV, you are going to do all these things that are going to hopefully make your name be out there. You're going to do good shows every night, which is a big part of it. I mean, you know, when you work your all day long in promoting your show, and then at night you're like, oh man, I have to please the audience. I mean, not please, but I have to take the audience with me. I have to convince them that it's good entertainment, it's a good show, and I have to convince them to talk to their friends and bring them to the show. So that is a challenge in itself. Changing room is just a technicality, I'd say. It was a challenge.
Oh, I don't know. That's a different room, because I saw that room before you got in there, before it had all the curtains and the backdrops. You did a lot, I think, to bring that room up to your standard.
Yeah, so when we wanted to move, we wanted to move always. The room I was in was too small, and also we had this Best of Vegas award, and a lot of things went into shape for us to move. And Caesars said, okay, we have a room for you. It's at Bally's. And I knew it because there's not 1,000 rooms in Vegas. There's a limited amount of rooms. There's more people wanting to perform than rooms. So that's why.
Yes.
And that's why you're.
Maybe not for long. We will see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see who survives. Big companies are going to be having a hard time now. But the small ones, okay.
Right now, we're going to play a clip of your show. Actually, it's from the TV show The Next Great Magician, because I want the audience at home to see just this kind of thing. It's incredible, the magic that this guy does. Take a look at this.
Combining magic, circus arts and comedy, Xavier Mortimer has appeared in Cirque du Soleil, and his beautiful visual magic is in demand all over the world.
Please welcome Xavier Mortimer.
But before you had your show in Las Vegas, I know that you were with Cirque du Soleil. That is right. Maybe you can tell us a little about.
Well, they brought me to Vegas. I never ever expected to be in Vegas. That was not my thing. I always loved theater, and I want to do some magic that means something, you know. And for me, Vegas was kind of like entertainment, you know. And I realized that it wasn't. When you see people like Penn and Teller, and even David Copperfield does some really great magic over here. So it's just the way you see it and what you want to build. And I understood that what's not here, you have to create it. If you're not happy with something, if you want to change the world, it's just in your hands. You go for it. It's not because the world looks something like that you can't do anything about it. So if you want to do some magic that has more meaning and something a little different than what's out there, you just do it and you see if it works. And that's what I did. But anyways, they saw me in the festival in Edinburgh because I was performing in 2008 and 2009, and I was with also the festival from Kevin McMahon in Edinburgh, the Magic Festival, which is really great. I spent a lot of time in England.
Mm-hmm.
They saw me and they say, "Hey, would you like to audition for us? We like your work and we want to hire you as a physical comedian, like clown." And I did it without any expectation. And 3 years later, they just called me and said, "Do you want to be the main character of Michael Jackson one in Las Vegas?" That was just crazy. I was touring with my show in France. I had my company, I had my friends, everything was set, you know. I didn't expect anything, and I had to come see everyone. I think I had to think about it for like 3 months, or I don't remember. It was really long. Like I was going back and forth, and everyone was like, "You sure it's a good idea?" And I'm like, "Yeah, maybe I should stay." And in the end, the last time I had a call with them, the last minute before they called me, I was set on I'm not going. They called me and they started talking. I was like, "Okay, sure, let's do it."
It's a great show. It's a great show, and I hope it continues. And also, I know that we're going to see you back, and I will certainly be back over in Las Vegas pretty soon to come and see and hang out with you. But I want to thank you seriously on behalf of everybody here in England and around the world. Thanks for taking the time. I know we have a lot of time, but I know you're always busy. So thank you so much, Xavier.
Thank you for having me.
I will speak to you soon.
Thank you,
Jamie.
Oh, no,
it's a pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Xavier. Thank you for sharing that with us. That's about all the time that we have for this week. It's been a blast. Thank you for tuning in. So for now, it's goodbye from Adam. And goodbye from Bond.
Bye.
And Nat.
Bye, everyone.
And for myself, seriously, thanks for joining in. If you've enjoyed it, please do us one favour, like our Facebook page. And coming up on next week's show,